right, let's talk about the Trump economic boom. Joining us now, Newt Gingrich, former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor, great friend and mentor. His articles, The Coming Trump Boom. Newt, we have, I don't know, partial information, but more and more, the House Ways and Means markup, it looks to me like there's more tax cuts or more tax relief for individuals. And as we expected, all the depreciation and the lower tax rates for businesses. In fact, small businesses got a bigger tax cut. I'm not sure about the 15% made in America, but I mean, it's everything we hope for, I think, and maybe more.
Well, look, I think Jason Smith has done an amazing job as Chairman of Ways and Means, working with Speaker Johnson and President Trump. They've come together as a team. Frankly, virtually every committee now, which is reporting out, is achieving great things. And I think that this bill is going to be enormously powerful. It's an absolute big step towards what I described in my newsletter at Gingrich 360 as the coming Trump boom, which I believe is real. I think when you get beyond the noise, the amount of investment you cited in the last segment, the amount of tax breaks that are going to encourage development, encourage work, and I think this is a very important part of it. And then, frankly, the cuts in regulations and the cuts in in spending, which will create more space for interest rates to start coming down. It's pretty hard for me to look at all that and not see how it becomes a boom. And on top of that, Larry, nobody's paying enough attention to the scale of scientific change that's out there, the number of different things, whether it's in pharmaceuticals or it's in artificial intelligence or robotics. There are just an amazing number of things happening that are going to make life more exciting, more productive, and give us a wider range of choices.
You know, Newt, just one parenthetical here with this whole business of tax cuts and revenues, and by the way, what I call phony CBO Joint Tax Committee revenue estimates. Mr. Trump's made it very clear that as far as the eye can see, there's going to be a 10% baseline tariff, okay? To some extent, it's the equivalent of a value-added tax from all these countries around the world that we don't have and that hurts us. Anyway, if you just do some back of the envelope, more or less, we import about, I don't know, 4 trillion some odd. If you do 10% of that, you're talking about 400 billion. I don't know what the elasticities are. This isn't permanent. But you got $300 or $400 billion worth of revenues from tariffs that are going to come in the next 4, 5, 6 years. I don't know why they don't use that. Again, either for deeper tax cuts or at least pay for the ones that are on paper. Why don't they use that? Who cares what the CBO says, Newt?
Well, I think the CBO fake budgets are as bad as the fake media. And when I was Speaker and we were balancing the budget for 4 straight years, we fought with CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, every single day. I think they probably should count it. On the other hand, Larry, if we actually end up in a situation where a Republican Congress with a Republican president produces a deal which gets better in reality, not worse, that's a pretty huge change from the way Washington normally works. So I don't mind pocketing that money and reducing the deficit, which, as you know, will reduce the pressure on interest rates. And when you look at how much the U.S. government borrows right now, everything we can do to bring down interest rates has a direct impact on moving towards a balanced budget, because we're the largest borrowers in the world. And the Federal Reserve policy right now of keeping the interest rates artificially high is forcing a bigger deficit than we would have if the market simply reacted. I think you're going to see interest rates come down significantly. That will then become a virtuous circle, because it means that federal payments will come down and that the budget will be, in fact, even healthier. So I'm not too bothered. I'm very impressed with how Speaker Johnson has sort of brought his team together. They've still got a few problems. There's still going to be a lot more meetings between now and resolution. But I do think they're going to pass this extraordinary budget bill by Memorial Day. And then this challenge is up to the Senate. They got to get it done and conferenced so it can be signed into law by the 4th of July. If that happens, we will have a Trump boom in 2026, and we will keep the House and increase our majority in the Senate.
All right, we'll leave it there. Newt Gingrich, very optimistic. I agree, except for the part about well, no, it's okay. You want to retire some debt or deficit reduction, I'm okay. But I'll just say supply side growth solves a lot of problems. Anyway, Newt Gingrich, thank you ever so much. I love the boom scenario.